Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse, the Dark Knight Trilogy Scarecrow. Now, they're finally making figures from the Dark Knight Trilogy, and I think that's awesome. We need some of these guys in 7-inch scale. So let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Scarecrow, Collective Build Bane. This is the 4th figure in the wave. If you get all 4 of them, you can make Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. Here he is in the package. He doesn't come with any traditional accessories. He's got a collector's card, display stand, and then looks like 2 hands and 2 arms for Bane. One side of the package, Scarecrow from the Dark Knight Trilogy. Other side simply says Scarecrow. At the bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there is a barcode in case it helps anybody. And on the back side, here's Bane. Here's the pieces you get with Scarecrow. Oh, looks like the hands must be for Scarecrow. They don't seem to be for Bane. Here's instructions how to build Bane. Here's the rest of the wave. So no further ado, let's open them up. And I did get 2 full sets of these Dark Knight figures from the McFarlane Toy Store. They put them up the other day. They put them up already in stock. I ordered it and they shipped the same day. That is awesome. I got 1 set to open and enjoy, and 1 set to keep unopened in my complete Batman-related unopened action figure collection. And sometimes when you order from the McFarlane Toy Store, they'll send you a free action figure. This has happened to me a couple times in the past. They attach a note and it explains the action figure is in damaged packaging, beat up or dented, and here you go. Although every figure I've gotten, the package has actually been in pretty good shape. They gave me a Zack Snyder's Justice League Aquaman, kind of as a surprise. It's an older figure, one that I already have and don't really need another one of, but I can find something to do with it, I'm sure. Pretty cool. They attach a little letter here. McFarlane Toy Store, if you want to read the letter, go ahead and pause now. Really, really good customer service from them. But to offset that really nice thing they did for me, they did a screw up and they didn't include the free Batman cover. It's a variant gold cover of a McFarlane Toy Store Batman comic. I used the code. You get, 5% off plus the free comic. I sacrificed using the 10% off code just to get that comic. I emailed them. I'm sure they'll send me out one. Still, a little annoying, but very cool to get those free figures. One little amendment here. I've had the figure for a few days now. As soon as I got the package, I emailed McFarlane about the missing gold variant foil cover comic, and they shipped one out immediately. And I also emailed them about Bane's peg on his wrist breaking off inside the arm. They actually sent me a whole other Scarecrow figure to replace the broken arm of Bane. That is some really good customer service there, if I may say so. Great company, making great figures for a great price, making them easy to obtain. They send you free stuff. Great customer service, replacing any of my issues. I tip my hat to McFarlane Toys. Alright, now that I got this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. He comes with 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, Bane's arms, and then a display stand and a collector's card. Before we look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is a Scarecrow from Batman Begins, played by Cillian Murphy. He's in his straitjacket on top of his suited outfit. Looks really nice. So, starting with his face, he's kind of got that burlap sack. Now, I think this is when he's supposed to be in the fear toxin and maggots are coming out of his face. I'm going to say I don't think that translated to action figure form quite that well. They probably should have just made him a little bit more regular or normal. But it is cool. Looks pretty nice. You can see the stitching on his mouth. Kind of wish it was all the way through though. Just don't really think that worked as well as they wanted it to. And as well as I wanted it to. He's got the noose around his neck. The straitjacket here, the texturing is fantastic. It looks excellent. It's dirty in some parts, darker. The straps hanging down. Very, very, very well done. Now, he's on the suited body. You can see a sports jacket, pants, jump jointed knees, single jointed elbows. I'd love to see a gold label variant of Scarecrow in just a suit, but he's not on the leaked list, so I don't think it's happening. And just a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Now, I totally get what they were going for and trying to do, but I don't really think it translated to the action figure very well. I believe it's supposed to be when you hit the fear toxin, you see Scarecrow, In the movie, it was almost like three-dimensional. These maggots are coming out of his face, and he's lunging toward you. They should have just made him normal. It still looks cool, but it would have been better to have him as just Scarecrow regular, I think. And here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand. The same McFarlane stand we've seen time and time again. Black perfect circle. It's got one peg for the pegals on his feet. Very thin, very basic. Now for his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of the Scarecrow. Scarecrow from the Dark Knight Trilogy. On the backside there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Then we have Bane's arms. One arm has sort of part of that glove or the wrap around his wrist. Double jointed, muscular. Other one quite bare. And if you get all four of the figures, here's Bane fully assembled. Now let's check out his hands. He has a total of 4 of them. 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here's Scarecrow with his first pair of hands. His right hand is a fist and his left hand is open. And here's his other pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. And I was definitely curious what's underneath this Scarecrow straitjacket. Now it appeared like it was a suited body, but I could tell it was not going to be finished. So I heated him up, popped off his arm and his head, then popped him off at the ball joint here. As you can see, dress shoes, dress pants, start of a suit jacket, and then absolutely nothing up top, and really nothing on the back. And shout out to McFarlane Toys for not simply using Two-Face's legs and shoving them under here. Although I wouldn't blame them, and it really would make no difference. It's a completely different sculpt on the legs here. You would think they would simply just use the same one, but they didn't. And on a side note, if you want to use Scarecrow's extra gripping or trigger finger left hand, you can't replace Harvey Dent or Two-Face's permanent coin left hand. Just requires some hot water. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, he's standing at about 7.25 inches tall, which can translate to about 18.5 centimeters. Now for his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. You can look up about that far, down about that far. Not bad. You can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. He's got a single jointed elbow with rotation. His wrist, which is kind of hard to access. This extra straitjacket sleeve and strap and everything makes it kind of hard to swap out the hands and access them. Can't rotate. And it is hinged, although like I said, kind of hard to use that. He's got ball joint in his torso, rotate around, forward and back, legs. Completely does the splits, kind of move that straitjacket out of the way. Not a ball joint, McFarlane style hip joints. Go forward, not that much. Back, not much either. Rotation is non-existent. Double jointed knees, they go all the way back. And his ankle here, forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock, and toe articulation. Here's an image of Scarecrow using his fear toxin, spraying it across his victim. They're going to see something even crazier than what you see when you look at Scarecrow. In the movie Batman Begins, Scarecrow is riding on a horse, terrorizing the city, definitely reminiscent of Sleepy Hollow. Here's the Scarecrow on the McFarlane DC Multiverse, Batman The Dark Knight Returns collective build a horse. And here's Scarecrow, riding on that horse on his back hind legs, spreading fear toxin throughout the city. And here's a closer look at Scarecrow on the horse. Better shot, better angle, better lighting. Big thanks to my son for taking this photo for me. And here's Scarecrow on the McFarlane Witcher Roach horse. Doesn't fit quite as good because the saddle's a little bit bigger in the back. And then Scarecrow's flaps with a straitjacket. Kind of hard to get over that. Then here's Scarecrow on a NECA Sleepy Hollow horse. Another black horse that works for Scarecrow. And finally, here's Scarecrow on an older Toy Biz Lord of the Rings Nazgul horse. Now, one really cool thing about this horse, and I had no idea about till just now, if you pull the harness back, the eyes light up red. It would be perfect for Scarecrow if somebody could do it without having to have your hand in the photo like this. Now let's check them out, next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Dark Knight Scarecrow figures. Of course, I now have 2 of these Scarecrow figures by McFarlane. I'm definitely going to find something to do with the extra one. I can really put this Arkham straitjacket to good use. Here's a McFarlane straitjacket Scarecrow next to the Mattel 6-inch scale Movie Master version. McFarlane is far superior. The sculpt, the paint, the detail. I do wish he came with a normal burlap head though. They could have made this maggot version the Platinum Chase. That actually would have made perfect sense. Then, next to the Mattel 5-inch basic version. And here's the Scarecrow next to the Mattel Movie Master Scarecrow in business suit, but has a Scarecrow mask on. That was his main look in Batman Begins, and The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. Mafex also made a Cillian Murphy in business suit Scarecrow. It's probably the best one in 6-inch scale. Actually, definitely is. Although I'll tell you, this McFarlane one is my favorite Dark Knight Scarecrow at this point. He's a scale I like, and that straitjacket detail is amazing. Now let's check him out, next to some other very Scarecrow figures. Here are all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Scarecrow figures they've made. None of them are a traditional look. I'd say my favorite is going to be the Arkham Knight Scarecrow. And actually, the 2 on the left are both from the comics, but they are the farthest from a normal-looking Scarecrow. I really hope McFarlane gives us a traditional comic Scarecrow in the future. They would do an awesome job at something like that. And here he is, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Scarecrow figures. Then, next to all of my different Mattel Scarecrow figures. And this is my favorite of all of my Scarecrow figures, this Mattel Scarecrow from the Batman line. It's a fantastic sculpt, exactly like I imagine him to look from the comics. This is my ideal version of Scarecrow, and McFarlane would do an excellent job with something like this. Here he is, next to the Mafex Scarecrow figure, and then next to an older Kenner Legend of the Dark Knight Scarecrow. Here's my entire collection of Scarecrow figures. I have almost all of them in the 6 and 7-inch scale. I think I'm missing a couple by DC Direct. Now let's check him out, next to some different various Scarecrow henchmen or thugs in my action figure world. Here he is, next to a couple of Arkham Knight Scarecrow henchmen. Way back in the day, the first figures I got for Scarecrow henchmen were these Toy Biz Spider-Man Jack-o'-lantern guys. I thought they were just perfect for Scarecrow henchmen. Figures were a little smaller back in the day. Then, later, Toy Biz made some Marvel Legends 6-inch scale Jack-o'-lantern figures. These were awesome Scarecrow henchmen and scale up decent with the McFarlane figures. And sort of recently, Hasbro made their own version in the Marvel Legends line. More Scarecrow henchmen. When McFarlane made their Fortnite line, one of the first figures I made was the Skull Trooper. I got 4 of these guys, as I thought they were also perfect Scarecrow henchmen, although quite different from the Jack-o'-lantern figures. McFarlane made another version of the Skull Trooper. This is a Walgreens exclusive. This is the Green Glow Skull Trooper. Has some glow-in-the-dark features. When Jazzwares started making Fortnite figures, they were a little smaller, 6-inch scale. They made their own version of the Skull Trooper, but this is the purple version. Works good with the 6-inch scale Scarecrow figures as henchmen. A little later, Jazzwares made a more traditional version of the Skull Trooper. And since I already got 4 of each variety, I had to keep going. And Jazzwares made an inverted Skull Trooper, basically the black and white are reversed. Not quite as appropriate, but still pretty cool. They have that scary and skeleton image. And since I got so many Skull Troopers, just had to keep going. Now that Hasbro is doing Fortnite figures, I believe they're eventually going to do a Skull Trooper, and you know I'll have to get multiples. Now let's check them out, next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the rest of the wave of the Dark Knight Trilogy figures. Batman, Scarecrow, Joker, and Two-Face. And if you get all 4 of those figures, you get to collect to build Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. These are all the figures from the Dark Knight Trilogy McFarlane has made so far. Rumor is they're going to be doing a gold labeled Batman with sonar eyes, Bane with jacket on, and Joker in his bank robber outfit. And I hope they give us some more. Mainly, Batman in his Batman Begins suit, and Catwoman. Although I would love Ra's al Ghul, Talia, John Blake, Gordon, Alfred, and Lucius, but that's just me. I like the boring kind of figures like that. Now let's check them out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here's Scarecrow, next to McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Kyle Rayner Blue Lantern. And here he is, next to the Duke Thomas Signal, Jake Garrick Flash, and Con-El Superboy. Then, next to the Kingdom Come Armored Batman, and the Dark Knight's Metal Gladiator Batman, here's Scarecrow, next to most recent McFarlane Batman Wave. We have Nightfall Catwoman, Hush Batman, Infinite Frontier Joker, and both versions of Mr. Freeze. Here's Scarecrow, next to the recent Walmart exclusive gold label Vampire Batman and Eradicator. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Deadman and Flashpoint Aquaman. Then, next to the Shazam 2 movie Shazam and the Amazon exclusive Tim Drake Robin. And now, next to the Amazon exclusive Batman Family 5-pack, here's Scarecrow, next to the two most recent McFarlane Mega figures, Mongol and Frankenstein. And here he is, next to the most recent McFarlane Gaming Wave. We have the Arkham City Sick Joker and the Arkham Knight Scarecrow and Red Hood. Then, next to McFarlane's Mortal Kombat 11 DC offerings, the Batman Who Laughs and both versions of Joker. And now, next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, Hush Superman and Rebirth Kid Flash. Now let's check him out. Next to some recent McFarlane Build-A-Figure waves. Here he is, next to the Target exclusive Crime Syndicate Collect-A-Build Star the Conqueror wave. And here he is, next to the Speed Metal wave, Collect-A-Build The Darkest Night. Then, next to the Batman Arkham City wave, Collect-A-Build an undersized Solomon Grundy. And here he is, next to the gold label Walmart exclusive Black and Gray variants. Now let's check him out, next to some Page Punchers. Here he is, next to the third wave of Page Punchers. This is a Flash-themed wave. We have Flash, Atom, Heatwave, Grizzly Grodd, and both variations of Captain Cold. Then, next to the second wave of Page Punchers, this is based off Injustice 2, Dr. Fate, Supergirl, Batman, and Green Arrow. And finally, here he is next to the first wave of Page Punchers. This is a Black Adam themed wave. We have Batman, Superman, Constantine, and Black Adam. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures, here's Scarecrow, next to a Magic Eraser. And here he is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here he is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here he is, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here he is, next to some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, this is a very nice Scarecrow figure. The detail is fantastic on a straight jacket. I like the noose. I like the suited body underneath. They did a good job with almost everything. Not a fan of how the maggots look on the face. I just don't think it translated to action figure form very well. I would much prefer to have a regular burlap sack for a head without the maggots. They're cool, but it'd be cool as an alternate head. His accessories, simply the hands, a little disappointing. His articulation, it's everything you'd expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure, although you don't get much in the torso area, and it's a really weird body underneath. Single jointed elbows, etc. Sculpt and paint job are excellent, just not a fan of the maggots. If I had to rate this guy, even with the face that I don't think came out as good as they intended, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Really enjoying this figure. The detail on straight jacket is awesome. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.